Welcome on board, dear listener, wherever you are. Today, we want to go through a story entitled Sour Grape, a love that never was. This particular story is written by Otieno Mjomba and is available on Amazon.com. If you go to Amazon.com, you're going to get the story, the book there. You can buy it and go through and get the full story. The story starts with a prologue, and a prologue is adapted from powerpoetry.org. Your heart was drooling with love. I softened in the nectar of your affection, and I bathed in the rhythms of your voice. I didn't know how big my heart was until paradise seeped into my sleeve. With someone as chaotic as you, and anybody and my body pouring out of your arms, a love so intense that it trembled in every heartbeat. I fell in love with the idea of you. Heaven began to crumble underneath your feet. I no longer saw love in your eyes. You ached with a hunger, and so I fed you morsels of my dreams. I was losing myself trying to find you. You can only love me if you love yourself. I didn't know how to love when I met you. I watched my mother drown in the absence of love, and my father crave the warmth of love. I can only love you if I love myself. I crave a love that craves me, a love that fulfills me. Because I love you, I had to learn to let you go. Because I love you, I had to learn to love me. If you have never been in love before, then this won't make a meaning to your heart, albeit it will still make sense to your path of love. Love is invincible, so I thought. You will be living a lie if you want to see the wonders of love, if you are not ready to follow the love language of the heart. Maureen was a young lady in her early 30s, full of life. She had everything a woman would wish for. Which lady in this century will be in need or even asking for more with a flourishing profession of a 6-figure salary, a loving husband, and 3 adorable children to manifest their love for one another? In addition to all this, Maureen had a booming career as public relations officer, with one of the multinational companies that pitched their tents in one of the high-end estates of Upper Hill in Nairobi. Her journey to achieving all this was never rosy. She had to beat all odds to get to this level. All along, she was known as a town girl. She was constantly moving from one sister to another in the city in a move to find her right footing. All her parents were based in the village, and she swore never to be like them. So the last born in the family of 5, all the other 4 siblings were already fending for themselves in the city. Her sister Helen and Jen decided to follow the footsteps of their aunt, the mother's sister, by enrolling for sisterhood and to serve people through the church. Mary, their eldest sister, was the only one who went against the family influence and got married when she was already old enough. You might be asking yourself why. By now, you do understand that firstborn tend to be given the parents' responsibilities at home, and so it was obvious with Mary's case. Mary, as was and still is, was her mother's designated right-hand person and the one to put all the responsibilities of the other sisters and brothers on her shoulders. So on finishing high school, her parents couldn't raise enough fees to take her to college. Instead, her mother proposed the mission role, sisterhood. Mary was not happy at first. However, being that this was the new wave in their family, she opted to join Calvary Sisters Mission in Gunja town, a move that lightened her mother's heart. At some point, her mother could be heard saying to her charmer friends, "If I had raised a total of $200, I would have become a sister and working for the Lord. Unfortunately, my peasant parents couldn't. That is why I found myself married at the age of 16. After 6 months in the mission, Mary came back home. I wish you could have seen the feelings that were written on her mother's face, and by extension on the whole family. Mom's girl was at home. It was a grand reception accorded to one and only girl that was baptized as Mary, the mother of Jesus. After weeks of reminiscing and catching up with her friends in the village and her former schoolmates at Segamik Secondary School, including Nyangweso, her first crush when she was still a child, she embarked on her journey back to Calvary Sisters Mission after a short break. The next time she came back, not everyone was expecting her home at that period. Her arrival raised eyebrows. Otieno, her brother, and the only son in the family, was the first one to meet her at the stage. This round, she was carrying her luggage. It was obvious that the clouds that were already gathering above in the sky were going to usher in a season of prolonged rainfall. Unusual rain. Instead of greeting her, Mary broke into tears. Otieno, sensing danger, and because boys in their traditions were barred from crying or tending to show the emotions purporting to do so, decided to pick a bag and tied on the boda carrier and sat on his rightful position. Let's go, says. After weeks of solitude and loneliness in the house, she finally decided to break her silence to her loving and caring mother. The news that followed made Mama Mary numb and disoriented for almost eternity. When she regained her consciousness, her next stop was at Olo's doorstep, the father to Nyangweso. That day Nyangweso was not home. 3 weeks had passed since he left for Nairobi for mechanic training. This was courtesy of his father's best friend and drinkmate Baraza. Olo had to sell his 2 bulls to cater for the training. So we are going to continue with the next episode. If you want to get to know what happened at Olo's place, make sure that you follow our episodes to the end to get to know all how this particular story is going to pan. How will Maureen be received? What happened to Mary? And by the end of it all, how will the story end? See you in the next episode.